Andy Cohen is firing back at fans who say Bravo has too many Maga Housewives. And wait until you hear what he said about Carole Radziwill's Epstein ties. Porsha Williams just walked away with a multi-million-dollar mansion and a Rolls Royce in her divorce settlement. And Brittany Cartwright is revealing exactly how much her former publicist Lori Krebs knew about her alleged abuse from Jax Taylor, while Jax is out here claiming they were never even close. That's just the tip of the iceberg. We've got 21 stories today, so let's not waste a second. Hey everyone, this is Fighty. Welcome to The Fighty Show. Let's get into it. First up, Andy Cohen is standing firm on his casting decisions, and it sparked a genuinely interesting conversation across 3 separate topics this weekend. It all started when a fan on Threads asked him bluntly, "Why so many MAGA women? I can't watch OC anymore because of them," referring to some of the more politically conservative cast members currently on Real Housewives of Orange County. Andy responded that if the show didn't showcase people with different points of view, there would be no show at all, adding that Housewives has always been about the women's relationships with each other, not about their individual politics. He didn't call out any specific cast member by name, but his response made it very clear he has no plans to start screening potential cast members based on their political affiliations. That same weekend, a different fan asked Andy directly whether bringing Vicki Gunvalson back to RHOC has actually been good for the show, flatly calling her unwatchable in their message. Andy didn't hesitate, writing back, "I genuinely do. I think she is great this season." Considering Vicki has had a rocky relationship with parts of the fan base over the years, especially after her ex Brooks Ayers' fake cancer scandal years ago, that's a pretty strong vote of confidence from the guy who controls her paycheck. Then came what might be the most consequential exchange of the whole Q&A. A fan brought up Carole Radziwill's return to Real Housewives of New York City, writing, "Why on earth did you bring back Carole with her known ties to the Epstein files? Many will be boycotting New York because of this." For some context here, Carole has previously told the New York Times directly that she never personally knew Jeffrey Epstein, though she has acknowledged being friendly with Ghislaine Maxwell years ago, and her name did appear in a small number of the millions of publicly released Epstein-related documents. This is obviously a much heavier topic than typical Housewives drama, since it touches on real victims and a genuinely dark subject, which is exactly why so many fans are uncomfortable with Bravo bringing her back without more transparency up front. Andy's response was short but pointed. Then they're missing out, and she answers everything you'd want to know about it on the show. So it sounds like Bravo is choosing to let Carole address the elephant in the room on camera, rather than issue any kind of statement beforehand, which is a bold editorial choice given how sensitive the subject matter is. Rounding out the Q&A, a fan asked Andy if Bravo had ever considered launching a Real Housewives of Nashville, noting that other franchises' casts always seem to end up filming there anyway. Andy confirmed, "Have cast there a few times," which suggests Bravo has actively scouted and possibly screen-tested candidates in Nashville before, even if nothing has been greenlit yet. Next up, some genuinely massive financial news for Porsha Williams. More than a year after her divorce with Simon Guobadia was legally finalized, the two have now resolved every single remaining financial issue between them, and Porsha has come out of it in a huge way. According to court documents obtained by TMZ, Simon has officially transferred his entire ownership interest in their shared Atlanta mansion over to Porsha through what's called a quitclaim deed. That's a legal document where one party gives up any and all claim to a piece of property. On top of gaining full ownership of the house, Porsha is also owed $1,568,181.63 specifically as reimbursement from Simon's share of the property's built-up equity, and she's walking away with complete unshared ownership of a 2021 Rolls-Royce Ghost that the two once shared. Perhaps most importantly for her day-to-day life, Porsha now has full legal authority to either refinance the mansion or sell it outright whenever she wants, without needing sign-off from Simon or from any court-appointed arbitrator. For a bit of background on how we got here, Porsha filed for divorce back in February 2024 after just 15 months of marriage, and the divorce itself was finalized in June 2025, with Simon also being ordered to pay Porsha $40,000 a month in spousal support for 14 months, honoring the terms of their prenuptial agreement. Things got even messier for Simon after that, though. He was detained by ICE and ultimately deported back to Nigeria, with officials citing a documented history of immigration violations, including allegations connected to bank and credit card fraud. Simon had also separately filed a defamation lawsuit against Porsha over social media posts she made regarding his erectile dysfunction, though that legal drama appears to be a completely separate matter. All in all, this closes out one of the most public and dramatic Bravo marriages in recent memory, and Porsha's walking away with the house, the car, and the very healthy chunk of of cash. Moving on, and this next story deals with a genuinely serious topic, so I want to make sure I walk through it with care. Brittany Cartwright is setting the straight about the true nature of her relationship with former publicist Lori Krebs, after Jax Taylor publicly suggested the two of them hadn't actually been close for over a year and were basically never real friends to begin with. On a recent episode of Watch Happens Live, Brittany firmly pushed back on that narrative, saying Lori was family basically. I had just invited her to a 4th of July cookout at my house, and now that they're trying to say that we haven't been friends for a year and a half, she was here the last time I was here, in April. The lies are insane to try to flip the image and make them look better. She went further, revealing just how deep that friendship actually ran, saying she was my family member, the person I went to whenever I was being abused in that relationship. I cried on her shoulders. That's an incredibly heavy admission. Brittany is directly stating that Lori was one of her main sources of emotional support, specifically during the period she alleges she was being abused by Jax. Brittany has separately told People magazine in more detail that Lori guided her through her divorce, through all the various Airbnbs she lived in after leaving Jax, and that Lori knew every in and out of everything in her life, which is exactly why the sudden romance between Lori and Jax feels like a profound betrayal to her. She's publicly said it felt like Lori was sleeping with the enemy. Brittany also revealed something pretty damning about the timing of it all. She says Lori texted her 2 hours before TMZ broke the photos of her and Jax together, giving her only the briefest heads up that things had changed, which Brittany clearly does not view as an adequate warning given everything Lori knew about her history with Jax. Worth noting, Jax's attorney Mark Vincent Kaplan has publicly denied Brittany's abuse allegations altogether, so this remains very much a contested, two-sided story. As for where things currently stand between Brittany and Jax directly, she confirmed on Watch Happens Live that the two of them do still communicate, since they share custody of their 5-year-old son Cruz, but she didn't paint a pretty picture of that parenting relationship, flatly saying Jax harasses me on our parenting app constantly. She also touched on her friendship with Kristen Doute, who found herself somewhat on the opposite side of a recent cast divide. Brittany confirmed Kristen has apologized to her over and over, calling her my sister, who's literally at her house 3 times a week, and attributing some of her earlier missteps to being deep in postpartum depression at the time, which Brittany says Kristen herself deeply regrets now. Next up, more Orange County fallout. Tamra Judge is finally explaining in her own words exactly why she called out Shannon Beador's drinking during their explosive, now infamous fight on Real Housewives Ultimate Trip Girls. Tamra admitted she made the comment specifically because Shannon was, in her words, being a bitch in the moment, and she acknowledged she may have made a hand gesture mimicking drinking while calling out to Shannon, "The truth hurts, bitch," as she walked away from their confrontation. This all reportedly stems from lingering tension between them going back to their falling out during the most recent season of Real Housewives of Orange County. Tamra also confirmed something fans have been speculating about for months, that this specific fight is the real reason both her and Shannon were quietly pulled from attending the RHUGT season finale, which was filmed at Dorinda Medley's famous Bluestone Manor and featured a huge lineup of legendary housewives from across the entire franchise. According to Tamra, producers made the call to keep the two of them apart specifically so any further explosive moments between them could be saved for their own upcoming season of Real Housewives of Orange County instead of playing out on a different show entirely. Tamra also opened up about an emotionally difficult moment that happened after she wrapped RHUGT filming and went straight into filming RHOC. She recalled sitting down with castmates Heather Dubrow and Gina Kishenhire, only to have Heather immediately confront her, telling her that what she did to Shannon on RHUGT was so horrible. Tamra pushed back on that characterization. When she rewatched the footage herself, she genuinely doesn't understand why she's being framed as the villain of that moment, especially since Heather wasn't even present when the actual altercation happened. Alright, next up, Teresa Giudice is dishing out some genuinely spicy commentary during a recent appearance on Watch Happens Live. During a segment where the housewives were shown photos of various Bravo celebrities and asked to blurt out the very first thing that comes to mind, Teresa revealed that out of every housewife across the entire franchise, she believes Vicki Gunvalson's looks have changed the most over the years, though she was careful to soften the blow a bit, adding, "Not bad, but Vicki, you looked great before." She didn't extend the same courtesy to Tamra Judge, bluntly calling her annoying without any additional cushioning. Beyond that segment, Teresa also addressed some shadier commentary Vicki had made elsewhere about Teresa and her ex-husband Joe Giudice. The two of them famously failed to pay their taxes years ago, which resulted in both of them serving prison sentences. Teresa handled the topic with more grace than you might expect, acknowledging the complicated feelings that still come up around that chapter of her life without escalating into a full-blown feud with Vicki over it. Elsewhere in that same RHUGT adjacent conversation, Vicki also opened up about her own experience on the trip, admitting she got off to a bumpy start with Dorinda Medley, who she said was initially frustrated with her for eating in her room at Bluestone Manor, though the two have since patched things up and are on good terms now. Next back, over to Rhode Island. Beth Walker, the woman at the center of Rula Pontarelli's husband Brian's alleged affair storyline, is teasing what she's calling a mic drop moment, and it sounds like it could be a significant one. She posted a video snippet on her Instagram story that appears to show a recorded conversation with Brian, timestamped all the way back to August 17th of last year at 5:14 in the afternoon.
It was Friday when the lights.
Alongside that clip, she shared a photo of them together with the caption reading, "There's a reason you haven't seen it yet. Timing is everything." According to the Bravo and Cocktails fan account on Instagram, the brief clip appears to show Brian actively saying something in the recording, though exactly what that is remains unclear for now. Beth has previously explained her reasoning for going public with all of this in an exclusive interview with realityblurb.com, saying, "I was trying so hard to take the high road, but after seeing his first interview calling it the darkest time of his life, I couldn't resist sharing the photos." She's also been adamant that there's no NDA governing her relationship with Brian, despite what Brian has claimed, calling that idea another lie he hides behind. For some background here, Brian previously filed a breach of contract lawsuit against Beth back in April, alleging she violated an NDA he claimed she signed, and hinting that the relationship spans roughly 2.5 years. Season 2 of RHUGT is currently in production, and given how much Beth continues to escalate things publicly, it seems almost impossible that this storyline won't make its way onto the show in some form. Moving on, Craig Conover is facing some real, sustained backlash from the Southern Charm fanbase over a recent sponsored post. He promoted on-brand nicotine pouches on Instagram, cheekily tying the product back to his own lifestyle brands by saying, "One thing I know about is pillows and what soft is supposed to feel like. When I heard that On nicotine pouches came out with a pouch that feels like a pillow in your mouth, I was like, nah, you got my attention. Pillow in my mouth, surrounded by pillows. That's my ultimate dream." Fans were quick to flood the comments with disapproval, with people calling the promotion beneath him, tacky, low, and even a red flag, given that nicotine products are generally viewed as a much riskier category of sponsorship compared to the pillows and home goods he's built his Sewing Down South brand around. Interestingly, his castmate Sally Carson also appears to have promoted the exact same product around the same time, and the two of them played along with each other in the comments, with Craig responding to one of her posts with "cinnamon stick plus pillow, meet my exciting sister." That playful back and forth didn't do much to quiet the broader criticism online though. Next up, a fresh round of drama between RHNJ alums Jenn Fessler and Rachel Fuda that reopened an old wound. Rachel recently appeared on Kim DePaiola's Get Real podcast and didn't hold back, calling Jenn messy and specifically dragging up a condolence text Jenn had sent her after her grandmother passed away, a text that arrived during a period when the two women weren't even speaking to each other. Rachel's reaction was blunt and emotional. "Are you serious? My grandmother passes away and you send me a text message? Go do your fucking podcast. Go climb your social ladders." In response, Jenn shared the actual most recent text she'd sent Rachel to give her side of the story and push back on the social climber characterization. This whole rift traces back a couple seasons when Rachel felt genuinely betrayed by Jenn's growing closeness with Teresa Giudice, especially after Jenn got involved in a conflict between Teresa's daughter Gia and Rachel's husband John Fuda. Neither Jenn nor Rachel were invited back to film the current season of RHNJ, though Jenn has managed to stay relevant and busy through her own successful podcast, which appears to be exactly the thing Rachel was taking aim at in her recent comments. Speaking of RHNJ, some genuinely happy news on that front. Teresa Giudice gave a really positive update on her reconciliation with her brother Joe Gorga and his wife Melissa Gorga. When Andy Cohen directly asked her how filming season 15 went now that the years-long family feud is finally behind them, her answer was simple and heartfelt. "Amazing. Yeah, it was great." She went on to explain that filming Special Forces World Toughest Test alongside her daughter Gia actually played a real role role in her decision to finally let go of the grudge, saying she found herself constantly thinking as a mom about what kind of lessons she wanted to model for her daughters, and ultimately decided she didn't want to keep showing them what it looks like to hold on to a fight forever. It's a genuinely nice full-circle moment for a feud that at its peak completely divided the RHNJ cast and reportedly even put the future of the show itself in jeopardy. Next up, some intense, difficult drama coming out of the McBee dynasty. Ali Eklund is breaking her silence after ex-boyfriend Steven McBee Jr. publicly accused her of cheating during a trip to Stagecoach, and notably, he made that accusation before the two of them had even had a real private conversation about what actually happened. Ali made the decision to release private text messages between the two of them to defend herself, and the screenshots revealed some genuinely harsh language from Steven, who called her a fucking slut, a hooker, and a bitch during their arguments. Ali told the Cider she felt she genuinely had no other option but to respond publicly, especially since roughly $50,000 worth of her brand deals were at risk of falling through because of the fallout from his accusations. She added that Steven isn't used to women sticking up for themselves. I had put my foot down. Looking back, I'm happy that I did. In the aftermath, Steven did publicly apologize and reportedly entered a trauma retreat specifically to work through anger issues, even going as far as writing individual 2-page handwritten apology letters to every single member of Ali's family. Despite that gesture, Ali's family ultimately told him he would not be welcome back in their home, and Ali herself has since blocked him completely, telling Page 6 that none of his continued messages ever felt like genuine accountability to her. On a more positive note, away from all that drama, Ali has continued growing her apparel and home goods business, EE Ranch and EE Mercantile, and has remained open to future reality TV opportunities, including a potential spot on Real Housewives of Dallas down the line. Moving on, Amanda Frances is getting a genuinely warm send-off from some of her former RHOBH cast members following her exit announcement. Kathy Hilton commented directly on Amanda's Instagram post, writing, "The best of luck to you. I'm excited to read your new book. I hope you're having a great summer and enjoying your beautiful family." Jennifer Tilly added her own supportive message, writing, "Amanda, good luck on your journey going forward. I can't wait to read your new book. You are so funny and sweet and smart. We will miss you." Amanda's departure comes after just one polarizing season, which included plenty of tension with Lori Krebs over money and with Bozoma St. John over her metaphysics-based business. In her own announcement, Amanda made clear she has plenty going on outside of Bravo. She's releasing a new memoir called Holy Fuck on August 18th, and she also revealed she's marrying the love of my life this fall, on top of continuing to run the business she had already built over 15 years before ever joining reality TV. Next up, some genuinely juicy next-gen NYC tea. Liam Oberfall is opening up about exactly where things currently stand with Ariana Bierman, describing their connection as casual for the time being, telling Page 6's Virtual Reality, we're just talking, having fun but keeping it casual." But that wasn't even the most surprising part of the interview. Liam also revealed that back in high school, he actually shared a kiss with Ramona Singer's daughter, Avery Singer, at a house party, and that he's known Ramona herself through mutual friends, joking that Ramona used to know him as one half of Liam and Jackson, referring to his childhood best friend. As if that wasn't enough Bravoverse crossover for one sit-down, Liam also admitted he recently slid into the DMs of Southern Hospitality star Mia Ilario, introducing himself with a simple, "I'm new to Bravo." According to Liam, Mia did respond once, he replied back, and then radio silence ever since. So consider that a very public, on-the-record invitation for Mia to finish the conversation. Moving on, to Selling Sunset, Davina Potratz is opening up about her time on the show and specifically calling out one former castmate for being noticeably different behind the scenes than she appears on camera. She singled out Chrishell Stause directly, telling Smooth Spins Casino, "I would say Chrishell was very different on and off camera. Fakeness personally rubs me the wrong way, and when someone is extremely removed from how they are when the cameras are rolling, it's irritating." Davina went further, claiming that a lot of her former castmates were reluctant to speak their minds honestly on the show, suggesting they were likely afraid of facing the same kind of backlash she experienced after being outspoken herself, adding that people would often just agree with things they didn't actually believe rather than risk conflict. Davina originally left Selling Sunset at the end of 2020 to focus on brokerage work, briefly returned for season 4, saw her roles shrink significantly by season 6, and was ultimately phased out of the cast entirely ahead of season 7. Moving over to Mormon wives territory, Taylor Frankie Paul is responding after her ex, Dakota Mortensen, made his relationship with Shinia Powell Instagram official through a series of affectionate, PDA-heavy photos, including shots of them kissing and spending time with Shania's kids, captioned, "Soaking up our last bit of summer." Taylor responded with a pointed AI-generated image depicting two women resembling herself and Shinia wearing matching outfits, captioning, "Who do you think meets weekly now in the same fit with their Alanis? This isn't news to me. If anything, cheers to us brown-eyed girls showing up in the same outfit with their Alanis." On that very same day, Taylor also posted a separate video discussing what she described as emotional abuse from a former partner. She didn't directly name Dakota in that post, but given the timing, a lot of fans immediately connected the dots. This entire dynamic has been building for years now. Taylor and Dakota's relationship first made headlines after her 2023 arrest following a physical altercation, which she ultimately pled guilty to as aggravated assault, with other charges dismissed as part of a plea deal. The two reconciled and welcomed a son together in March of 2024, but the relationship ultimately ended in 2025 after Taylor accused Dakota of cheating with Shinia. Since then, things have escalated significantly on the legal side. Dakota sought a protective order against Taylor back in March, while Taylor filed her own petition alleging a pattern of abusive and coercive conduct from him. A court did award Dakota temporary custody of their son, though prosecutors later declined to pursue new criminal charges against Taylor following separate investigations into the matter. The broader custody dispute between the two of them remains ongoing and unresolved. And speaking of Taylor, her very next post sparked a completely different kind of conversation online. She shared a series of photos from court while announcing she successfully completed 3 full years of probation stemming from her original 2023 domestic violence arrest, writing in her caption that her probation officers told her it was one of the longest probations they'd seen for a first-time offense. She also used the moment to reflect more broadly on her experience with domestic violence, admitting that at the time she genuinely didn't even understand what DV meant, explaining DV is a sneaky cycle to get stuck in because by the time you realize what actually is happening, you're already stuck in it. But instead of the conversation staying focused on that reflection, a lot of fans in the comments zeroed in on the photos themselves, questioning whether they'd actually been generated using AI. One commenter specifically pointed out that 3 of the images appear to show the exact same head tilt, and another joked the whole thing felt like rage bait at this point. When Taylor was directly asked point blank about the AI accusations, she simply responded, "I plead the fifth," which obviously did nothing to settle the debates and only added more fuel to the speculation. Next up, Ariana Madix is addressing 2 very different, unrelated headlines at the same time. First, she pushed back firmly on backlash surrounding viral, on-screen intimate moments from the current season of Love Island USA, telling Us Weekly, "These are adults living together, and it's an adult show. So for me, the audience should be expecting people to act like adults in adult relationships, and people in adult relationships tend to get physical with each other on various different levels." She made clear she supports every Islander's individual choice about how physical they want to be, and suggested that some of the critics might simply be newer to the franchise, pointing out that earlier seasons of Love Island UK pushed things even further. She also touched on ongoing speculation about her future hosting the show, admitting she's heard rumors about a 2-year thing every single year without ever understanding where that particular rumor originated. Separately, and on a much more serious note, Ariana is also weighing a significant legal decision. After losing her appeal to get Rachel Levis's revenge porn and privacy lawsuit dismissed, a case stemming from the original scandal back in 2023, Ariana is now considering taking the fight all the way up to the California Supreme Court. She's requested to push the scheduled hearing back to September, and according to reports, she currently has roughly 40 days left to make a final decision on whether to move forward with that appeal. Next, some Vanderpump Rules adjacent news. Tom Sandoval's ex, Victoria Lee Robinson, was recently photographed at a California winery alongside magician Criss Angel, and the image immediately sparked online dating speculation given how publicly messy her breakup with Tom has become. But sources close to both Victoria and Criss told TMZ there's nothing romantic going on between them, explaining that the two simply run in the same friend group and have never actually spent time together one-on-one, only in group settings. According to those same sources, Victoria isn't looking to date anyone right now anyway, and instead is focused on healing from her split with Tom. That breakup, for context, has turned into a genuinely contentious legal battle. A judge kept a temporary restraining order on Victoria in place back in July while the case continues, though a separate request from Victoria for her own protective order against Tom was denied pending further hearings. Tom is reportedly preparing to present videos, photographs, and medical records in upcoming court proceedings to support his side of the story, while Victoria continues to dispute the allegations made against her. So this photo of Criss Angel turned out to be far less dramatic than it initially looked, but it's a good reminder of just how much attention Victoria's every move is currently getting. Moving on to a much lighter story, Luann de Lesseps is apologizing for an accidental and honestly pretty awkward slip-up during the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip premiere. While discussing whether her castmates should address her as Countess or simply as Lou, Luann attempted to draw a comparison to Jennifer Lopez, saying, like, J-Lo is from the hood? A producer immediately jumped in to gently correct her, saying, from the block? Prompting an embarrassed Luann to respond, "Oh, sorry." She later addressed the moment at the show's premiere party, explaining that she lived in Europe for many years back in the 90s and early 2000s and simply blanked on the actual lyric in the moment. She stressed that she loves Jennifer Lopez and meant no disrespect, joking that she probably should have gone with Jenny from the Bronx instead, and closing things out with an enthusiastic "We love J-Lo." As of now, Jennifer Lopez herself hasn't publicly responded to the moment or the apology. Next, a quick below-deck Mediterranean update for you. In the latest episode, Joe officially earned his bosun stripes after stepping up admirably to cover the crew during a genuinely rough patch, where they were short both a bosun and a deckhand. Meanwhile, Cooper and Kat's budding relationship hit some real turbulence after outside pressure and constant commentary from castmates started weighing on both of them, leading to Cooper to briefly and abruptly end things with Kat before the two secretly agreed later that night to stay together while telling everyone else the opposite. And in the biggest reveal of the entire episode, fan favorite deckhand Max Salvador Holt made his highly anticipated return to the yacht, quite literally somersaulting his way back down the hallway to rejoin the crew. Switching over to some non-Bravo reality news, Bachelor alum Courtney Robertson is opening up to a genuinely difficult chapter in her personal life, revealing infidelity allegations against her estranged husband Humberto Preciado after 6 years of marriage and 3 children together. Speaking on iHeartRadio's I Do Part 2 podcast, Courtney explained, "What I'm going through is with infidelity and different parenting styles, and I would say it's early days. I've been thinking about this for a year, 2 years. I know it may have seemed sudden to some people." She also opened up about how much the relationship had been affecting her physical health, recalling how stressed and heartbroken she looked during a recent public appearance, attributing it directly to elevated cortisol levels from the ongoing tension in her marriage. As of now, Humberto hasn't publicly responded to any of the infidelity allegations. And for our final story today, Big Brother 28 is currently underway, and Rick Devens' wife, Becca, is opening up about what the whole experience has genuinely been like for their family. Unlike Survivor, which Rick has actually competed on twice before, and which is already fully filmed and edited by the time it airs, Big Brother unfolds much closer to real time, meaning Becca doesn't get the same experience of watching episodes alongside her husband like she normally does during a Survivor season. She shared that while Rick's recent head of household win led to a wave of online criticism over some of his more aggressive strategic choices, she personally believes he's since realized he needs to slow down and play things a bit smarter going forward if he actually wants to win the whole game. She was also refreshingly candid about the emotional toll of it all, admitting quite openly that she doesn't think Rick is actually having that much fun in the house this particular season, which is a pretty honest thing for a spouse to say publicly while the game is still ongoing. Okay, that was a massive one today. Honestly, that Andy Cohen Q&A is the one I think is going to keep generating headlines for a while, especially those Carolyn Radziwill Epstein comments, since that's clearly touching a real nerve with a lot of fans right now, and I don't think this conversation is anywhere close to over. That's everything for today's episode. Drop a comment letting me know which story surprised you the most, and if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss tomorrow's update. See you in the next one.